We have all heard of young entrepreneurs making it big in this world, coming out with innovative ideas and impacting societies and communities in this world. But what we're yet to see or what we're yet to hear is the behind the scenes of what makes them a successful entrepreneur, a teenager who's successful. So here's to the makings of a teenage entrepreneur. It's an honor to have this young lady with us, sharing her experience and a journey. Let me introduce her to begin with. So she's an 18-year-old teenage entrepreneur. She started her journey in entrepreneurship when she was 13 years old. And she's also the founder of startmyname.com, which is a web development company. She's the Chief Marketing Officer of Ascendance, a nationwide youth movement, which also got her to be an award recipient for the Diana Award in 2019. She's an international speaker. She's also a 3-time TEDx speaker. Wow, this is already getting me so excited to have her on board. She's an undergrad student at the University of Pennsylvania. And the most interesting part, she's an author of The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. So welcome, Harsha. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for giving us this exclusive interview to your bestseller, actually, The Makings of Teenage Entrepreneur.
Oh no, thank you all for actually having me here today. It is a privilege to be here with you. You're actually one of my favorite hosts that I've seen so far. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. First and foremost, I was actually looking through the whole list of your introduction. And the first thing that came to my mind is the fact that how are you handling this responsibility? It's a huge list. It's a huge list from being the founder of Start My Name to being the Chief Marketing Officer. So it's a lot to handle. So for an 18-year-old, how are you handling these responsibilities?
I know it's a lot for an 18-year-old to handle, especially with having to balance that with my 18-year-old life of watching Netflix and movies. So it is a struggle. But I think that how I'm able to do all of this is because it's not actually me doing this. So I feel like many times there are some amazing entrepreneurs out there, younger than me and much more amazing, and they can handle so much more things. But personally, for me, I'm a very normal person. I have an average attention span and an average ability to get work done. So without the support system around me, I don't think I'd be able to do any of these things, whether it's running a startup, which is with clients from 4 continents, or whether it's doing my essay for high school or college. It would not be possible without the support system around me. So my team, my family, my clients, all of them actually play a big role in helping me manage these different things together so that all of them turn out well in the end.
I can see why she's an international speaker. So you are very fluent, you're very poised. It's really amazing to have you on board. You're talking about support system. Share with us a little bit about that. How the thoughts of your family, knowing that you are embarking on this entrepreneur journey. So how was it like? Because you started when you were 13. So how was your family accepting this whole changes for a teenager?
Okay, so my entrepreneurship journey did start when I was 13, but I think my venture into entrepreneurship actually started a little bit earlier when I was actually 11.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I know it's not much of a difference when you're 13, but now it sounds a bit more fun, right? Ooh, 11. But it's not like I straight away enrolled for a Harvard business degree and started. But no, it actually started because of the core of my support system, my mother. So my mother, when I was 11, she actually wanted to start her own business. So she was the one who was venturing into entrepreneurship. She had been an extremely successful professional in a multinational company. She was a director, and she just wanted to step out and do something for the people in the corporate world, for the people out there to make their lives better. Because for her experience of having to balance very jet-setting lifestyle with having a family at home, on top of that being a single mother, it was quite a challenge. And I think she wanted to be able to share her experience of managing that with others who are facing the same. So she always had a noble cause. She always had something inspiring to do. And when I was 11, she made the decision to actually focus on starting her own business full-time to spread this cause out there. So I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I didn't even know the word. But she would go and explore so many different things. She'd go for talks, business incubators. And one particular place that I think her heart found was this social business incubator called ET Ideas.
Okay.
So ET Ideas at that point of time, they had weekly talk shows, which means it was every Wednesday actually. And they would be open with the founder of ET Ideas, Ilungo Tiagu, with the other entrepreneurs who I think that's where we actually met you as well. I think that's where we met you. And my mom would go there and she would just listen. She would share her own ideas, see how she could start her own business. And I was there because there was no one to babysit at home. No. I was there because I just wanted to do everything my mom did. So
this was when you were 11?
Yes, it was when I was 11. And when I was there, you can imagine being an 11-year-old who has no idea about anything other than the four walls of my classroom. My biggest achievement of the day was if I finished all my homework on time and had an extra hour of TV. So that was my idea of the greatest lifestyle. And here I am in a business incubator where you have people who are CEOs of $1 million companies. You have people who work with thousands of students in schools, thousands of individuals to uplift their lives and uplift communities. And you have even everyday entrepreneurs who are in college, who are just starting out, who are taking the risk to figure out what they love and pursue their passion. And I, being the 11-year-old, was just so mind blown. I was dumbfounded. And I was so intrigued that this lifestyle actually exists, that people could follow their heart, they could do what they love, and at the same time, they could give back to the community. And from there, I think my journey actually started by watching what my mother was doing, how she started her business, how she started working with the people in ET Ideas, how she started kind of like getting involved with their team, helping them out where they needed help, and in return, they would help her out in her business. And over time, I think that the spillover effect was I started getting curious about this thing called entrepreneurship, about this thing called exploring. And because ET Ideas had, I think, over 29 different companies, 43 different associates, I would just spend time talking to them. I'd ask questions. I was very fascinated about the stories they shared because they weren't just sharing about business. For them, in order to run a successful business, you had to be a successful human being. You had to be successfully managing your emotions, successfully creating your thoughts into a reality. Those were the key components to being an entrepreneur for them. And learning all of that, I first started applying it actually in my own 11-year-old ways. So I set my first goal.
Okay.
It was a really big deal. I wanted to go to school.
At 11, right?
Yep, at 11. I wanted to go to school. But not just any school. I wanted to go to an international school.
Okay.
So I know it's a bit strange and it doesn't sound as fancy now. But that was the first goal that I had. I wanted to go to an international school. I wanted to get a full scholarship because my mom, she's a single mother, just investing in a business. She couldn't take that risk. But I was like, this is something I want to do. I want to go and explore different cultures. I want to meet different people. I want to see how the world out there works. And I set that goal. And at that point of time, first of all, who gets a scholarship when you're 13? It's like when you're 12. And I'm not exactly at that point of time scholarship winning material. I was just an average kid. But because I set my goal, and based on the things that I was learning, repetition of goals, constant focus, how to align your thoughts with actions to actually achieve a certain result, and because I was applying all of those things, slowly my academics started growing. My extracurriculars started growing, started representing the state, representing the country in a few activities. And after a while, I ended up receiving a scholarship for an international school, worth 150,000 ringgit.
Wow. Congratulations. I mean, it's a bit far away in the sense that I should be wishing you congratulations a few years back. But congratulations.
Yeah. And that actually and that whole journey it might not seem related to entrepreneurship, but that was actually the foundations of my entrepreneurship because it built that support system for me. In that process, I saw my mother give so much effort. She would spend late nights with me, showing me how to do a proposal for my scholarship, showing me how to align things in a way that looked nice. I had the ET Ideas associates who, whenever I needed to experience something, whenever I wanted to try something out, I would go to them and they would actually take me, like if there was a fashion CEO, she'd take me to meet her clients. If there was one company that did baking. They actually taught me how to do baking, make some chocolate. Of course, I'm not so good at it, so don't ask. But they actually all took me under their wing. I remember there was one time I was so down when the first scholarship I applied for rejected me. And I was so down. And there was also a time where my school teacher, one of my favorite teachers, actually just yelled at me in front of the entire assembly.
Oh my God.
Because she said, what are you doing? Why aren't you focusing on school that you have now? And instead you're distracting yourself, you're distracting everyone else by focusing on something that's not even attainable for you.
How do you handle those situations? It's not easy for an 11-year-old to go through that process.
And I think 11-year-old cannot handle it. I didn't handle it. I did not handle it well. I did my signature move. I cried. And I cried and cried and cried. And I cried so much that I went back to my mentors. I went back to the founder of ETIDs at that time, Ilungu Thiagun. I said, this happened and things like that. I went back to my mom and said, this happened. And I went back to everyone and I was telling this. And a lot of them said, that is part and parcel of achieving goals. If you set a goal, there will be obstacles. It's not the eradication of obstacles that's important. It's how you manage them and how you build yourself to overcome it. So that first story, even though might not seem very entrepreneurial, it was actually what I think set the foundations that would make me an entrepreneur. So like in that story, the first thing that happened is my mentor was showing me how that whole situation was created because of my own thoughts. My own inability to keep the goal in the dark, my own lack of focus, my own doubts manifesting themselves and creating that situation to get me off track. To my mom, I just needed a hug. I just needed my mom there. I just needed someone on my side. And she did all of that phenomenally. And she gave me that strength. And to my sister, she went back and she's like, let's go and talk to that teacher. I was like, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. But it was that confidence in everyone. It was those entrepreneurs who said, it's just one teacher. You're going to meet lots of teachers. You're going to be really successful, which when you're 11 and crying, it's kind of nice to hear. But
it's really nice that you have this wonderful support system. As you shared about your mom, I think she's been a wonderful inspiration for you about ETIDs, this platform. So it's nice to hear how a teenager has switched her mindset from being someone that you categorize as ordinary into having this whole perspective of life as a different outlook of life and looking at it as what more can I do? What more can I achieve in life? So you're saying about focusing on your thoughts, goal setting. So this is really amazing hearing it coming from an 18-year-old. It's really amazing. Looking into more things, I want to go into the book. So the makings of a teenage entrepreneur, like I shared earlier, we have heard about lots of successful teenage entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. It's amazing, these stories of people. But nobody really shares about how it happened, you know, how they got there. So it's quite fascinating because you're already young. So it's like, how did that really happen, right? So share with us a little bit about this book, The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. I heard a little bit, I read the book, so it's a little bit of sneak peek. It started on your 18th birthday. So how did this book actually got started?
This book is actually a very interesting book. The timeline of the book, you will see when you read it, actually started on my 17th, I think about a week or two before my 17th birthday. And that's when I actually launched my startup, startmyname.com. And the timeline of the book's kind of like story ends on my 18th birthday. So a little bit of backstory before we get into the book is when I just finished school, I had just finished my IGCSE, and I was facing that one existential crisis that all students who finish high school face. What do I do now? And I think that that's a very common problem. I mean, yes, on one side, I was working with Ascendance. I was Ascendance's chief marketing officer. We were running, I think, an extremely large and amazing youth movement. We had impacted thousands of students across the country. We were actively still working with them. But there was this gap in my life called school. And like, you know, like there's this place that something was there. So I felt the need to kind of do something about it. So I met my mentor, and my mentor says, and this is all in the book, and my mentor said something like, what do you want to do? Like, forget about careers, forget about everything. What do you actually want? And at that point of time, I thought, and
it's a very tough question though. It's a very tough question. How do you answer that?
Like, if you didn't have to pick a career, if you didn't have to pick what to study, if you didn't have to earn money, what would you want? What do any of us want? And I think it's a hard question to answer no matter what age you're at, right? And I remember thinking to myself, the one thing that I am passionate about and that I feel needs to be out there for everyone is Ascendance's cause. It's the cause that every single youngster out there should be able to have the resources, the platform, the guidance, everything that they would need to explore the world and start doing what they love to do while they're still in school. At whatever age, whatever background, they should have that opportunity. If an 8-year-old kid came up and said, I figured out the solution to renewable energy, or I can solve climate change, they should by all means have all the resources at their beck and call to experience what they need to experience and start working on it right then, right there. Because only then will we actually get the best ideas to bring humanity forward. And that is Ascendance's vision. So I told this to my mentor, this is what we do at Ascendance. You know this, you mentor Ascendance. But I want to bring this vision further. I want to bring this vision worldwide. I want every kid in the world to have this opportunity. That's what I really want. And he said, well, then go do that. Learn from the best. Don't just learn from the best from all over the world. So I actually applied for a few universities, and the university that I got in, and the one that I'm really passionate about and I fell in love with a bit, is the University of Pennsylvania. It's the top business university in the world. It's an Ivy League university in the US, and it has alumni like Warren Buffett, the singer John Legend, and many other amazing people. So there I study a Bachelor of Applied Arts and Science, where I actually learn the needed things in psychology, culture, to bring Ascendance to the next level, so that when we very soon reach that stage of going worldwide, we have the needed resources and information to do that in a way that brings out the best results. And at the same time, I noticed something, which is being alive is a bit expensive. You don't notice this when you're a teenager, but growing up and like being at that position, it's like I needed to have some source of income, and at the same time I needed to be able to pay for an Ivy League education. The textbooks themselves will kill you in cost, and again, I didn't want this burden to fall on my family. One of the things that for me happened is, yes, I wanted this education. I knew it needed to bring Ascendance to the next level, but I also needed to do something that could give me that opportunity and give me more opportunities. So I actually started startmyname.com to fund my education so that I'd have enough funds to be able to go to college, but at the same time to kind of sharpen my skills and reach out to other people who would need help. And basically helps everyday individuals and everyday companies, small businesses, to have a presence on the internet. So you don't have to pay 3-4K that sometimes people have end up paying to have a website, but you can have it as affordable, just at the tips of your fingers, so that anyone can be online, anyone can take the world by storm and have their presence around the world. So that's what Start My Name does. And over the course of that 1 year, we grew from complete scratch to having over 400 clients in 4 different continents, in countries like the US, the UK, Nigeria, the Philippines. And it's a very inspirational story. I talk about it a bit in the book as well. But what you don't see is, you see the teenage entrepreneur, you see the business doing well, you see hundreds of clients, but you don't see the people running it. And when you have 20 clients and when you have 200 clients, it's very different in the span of 1 year. And for me, it was a huge learning curve to be able to learn and manage that. And all of this actually accumulates on my 18th birthday. Because on one side, I've got these amazing clients, but I am answering my calls back to back. I'm having meetings, Zoom calls. I'm glued to my phone the whole day and the whole night. And then I've got essays, I've got my finals, I've got papers to write. And at the same time, one of the things that I actually found out was my dad passed away 2 weeks just before my 18th birthday. And that really did affect me a lot. It affected me very much, and for a moment I was in emotional turmoil. I was under pressure, answering my phone non-stop, working with clients. I remember at one point I would be on a call and my call would get interrupted by another call, and that call would get interrupted by a third call. So it was that amount of, I think, management, that pressure that I was under. And at the same time, there was another part of me who was a student who was going out there and had to actually make sure that I was doing my best and I was maintaining my 4.0 GPA. At the same time, I'm just an 18-year-old teenager.
Who's having her birthday.
It's my birthday. That's just me. I'm just a kid. I'm just a teenager. And when you have all of these things happening and it's on the same time, it's like there is that element of complete and utter chaos, I would say, in my mind, in my emotions, in everything that I was doing. And one of the things that actually happened is on my 18th birthday, back-to-back calls and so on. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap. I need a nap right now. And I actually took a nap and I was asleep for a while. And what happened is one of my clients actually called me and they woke me up from this nap. And I remember I was waking up. I picked up the phone and that client just yelled at me for, I think, a good 10 minutes. And they were basically saying, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I wasn't even involved in their problem, actually. It was not even an issue that I did. It was something that they did. So I was just thinking, I don't need this. Not only, do you really have to call me for something that I didn't do and accuse me on this day with all this pressure, with all of these things going on? And at that moment, I was thinking, you know what? I've had enough. I don't want to do this. I just want to be a teenager. I just want to have the day to myself. I'm done, in a way. And I remember I called up my mentor and I did my signature move. I cried and cried. And I was basically telling, I don't want to do this. It's so stressful. And I don't know what to do. I really don't. And he said, well, that's part of being an entrepreneur. That is the journey. There will be moments like this. And he said, it's a little different for you. You've got this added element of being a teenager. And coping with all of this with my limited experience and also with homework and deadlines and that social element of time of being just an 18-year-old. And one of the things that we were both basically kind of brainstorming is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are amazingly successful. There's a lot of youngsters, there's a lot of teenagers. And there's also a group of teenagers who are living this emotional chaos, who are living this turmoil in their day-to-day life. And this book is, and one of the things that we're saying is, so what if these teenagers want to do something different? If they want to be an entrepreneur, if they want to pursue their passion, or if they just want to see another option to life, what would they do? Who would guide them? Where would they even start? So that's when actually we came up with the idea for me to write this book called The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. So it's got the good, it's got how to start, it's got the bad, it's got the things that I don't know how to manage in it and how I actually managed it through the people around me, through the resources around me. And it's got a little bit about the future, about what you do after becoming an entrepreneur, what's the bigger picture. So in a way, this book documents my whole journey, not just of that 1 year, not just of having that moment of realization where I realized if I'm going through this, what about everyone else? What are they going through? That was my vision, right? Helping teenagers. So from that whole experience and from the experience of this 1 year, we've cataloged it and put it into this book. We've documented it. And it also has a little bit of sneak peeks and behind the scenes stories to how we in Ascendance run, how we started that, how we evolved into the nationwide youth movement that we are today. And all of this, mind you, are run by teenagers. Even the makings of this book was done by teenagers. It was illustrated by a teenager. It was formatted by a teenager. So a little bit of my love and a little bit of the love of teenagers and out there is actually in this book. It's a message that no matter who you are, no matter what you want to do, it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. It's the truth in a sense.
That's well said. I would say when you said it's the truth, because like you said, it's fancy looking at how teenagers or entrepreneurs are out there, but what actually is the in-between process is what we just don't see. Most people just don't see that. We see them giving the talks and things like that. So it's nice that you actually documented your lifestyle, documented your life experience actually. What are you going through? And like you said, it's the truth. And it's worth to be read by everyone so that they have a takeaway from this and see what is it that they can apply in life. So talking about this whole experience, this journey of writing The Makings of Teenage Entrepreneur, the phrase teenage is there. So I have a question, because when I read the book, I love the book. So it has a lot of things. It has like you mentioned, it has sketches in between. It has different colors, pictures, images. It's amazing. So would you categorize this as only for teenagers? Because I'm way past the teenager category. So just to confirm that one.
Thank you for your compliments and your kind words. The reason why it's called The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur was because I am a teenage entrepreneur. So it's kind of like, it was my story in a sense, but it's not limited just for teenagers. Again, as I mentioned, it's for anyone who wants to do something different. So whether you know what difference you want to make or you don't know what difference you want to make, this is the book for you.
Okay, so it's not limited to teenager, by the way. Just because of the title, don't be conned by the title. So it's for everyone, and I would say there's lots of lessons there, lots of lessons. So another thing that I just wanted to backtrack a little bit, when you were talking about Ascendance, you were mentioning the vision that Ascendance had and so on. So one thing that came to my mind is, how many people have actually came up to you and said, aren't you being idealistic with this whole vision that Ascendance has?
In the beginning, yes. I know that I may seem very young, but we've been running Ascendance since I was 13. So in terms of that, I'm actually a little old. It's been 5 years. So I remember in the first year of Ascendance forming, and I'm really getting serious about it and wanting to impact all of these youngsters, we met this one very amazing person. He's an investor, he's a business person, and he's extremely, extremely successful. And we were 4 teenagers, we were 4 kids who had an idea. And we didn't really know what Ascendance was going to do or what's going to happen with Ascendance. And we met him, and we shared about what we did, we shared about our vision, we shared about our idea, we shared about all of the stuff that we're going to do. How we were going to develop teenage entrepreneurs, how we were going to develop game changers among Gen Zs, make them engage, make them the leaders. And this is someone, you have to remember, who has many, many years of experience working in the world, who has met hundreds, if not thousands of people. And he's heard many business pitches, many visions, many ideas, and have seen a lot of them succeed and a lot of them fail. And he looks at us, and you can see that he's trying not to laugh.
Okay.
And then it's his turn to speak. And he asks us this question: would you eat maggots for your goals?
What? Okay.
And I know, it completely threw me off guard. I was like, what? I was expecting something else to happen. And he said, would you eat maggots for your goals? To achieve this vision, would you eat maggots? Would you camp in the desert? Would you do all of these crazy things to achieve this goal? And I said yes, of course I would say yes. If someone asked you that, you said yes. But if someone served me a plate of maggots for that lunch, I would say no. I would not do that. That's not my jive. But he basically said that this is an idealistic vision. Don't even bother trying. And you'd all be a lot better off if you just went and worked on your own stuff and forgot about Ascendance ever existed. And this is an extremely successful person. So imagine hearing this, 13 years old, and that feeling that you have. And again, I would not have recovered from this without that support system I had, without ET Ideas, without my family, without my mom, without people like you, without all of those entrepreneurs who had been guiding me. And they said, well, you know what, maybe you haven't reached success yet, but if we know that if you are focused on your vision, if you're focused on your goal, and your repetitive thoughts are constantly surrounded in that goal, and you're taking the right thoughts towards actions, there is no way that you will not achieve the goal. And at that point of time, a lot of our meetings went like that. I'm going to be honest. We'd go for a company meeting, same situation. It's a great initiative, it's a great idea, but can you achieve it? Aren't you kind of like being a little bit idealistic? It's nice to hear, but it's not practical. And that's what we got in our meetings. And I remember this because I was the one calling and setting the meetings, chief marketing officer. That was my job, cold calls. So it was very, very heartbreaking. And I think to an extent, we have not yet recovered from that heartbreak. But a change happened. And I didn't see this until I was in it. Where a few years later, maybe in the 4th, 5th year of Ascendance, whenever we went for a meeting, it was no longer a question of, is this possible? It was a question of, when is it going? When? I'm waiting for it. I started seeing the people we were meeting. They were excited. They no longer thought this is an impossible idea. They were excited. They thought that this is going to happen soon. I better start doing my part. Even if we went for meetings where they couldn't help us, they said, it's a noble cause. If you ever need anything on a personal basis, let us know. Let me know. I'll be there for this vision. And I didn't realize it, but there was this shift in the people we were meeting. There was this shift from people thinking we were idealistic to meeting people who thought this was possible and who were excited to be a part of it.
What changed?
That's what I asked. And then after that, I realized it was us. We changed. Whoever we met simply reflected what we already believed, what was already inside of us. When we had doubts, we manifested those doubts in the thoughts, words, and actions of the people we met. And doubts don't go away by telling yourself, goodbye doubts. By telling yourself, I can do this. That doesn't get rid of doubts. Doubts only go away when you start working on it. When we had that first meeting, we didn't stop. Yes, we were disheartened. Yes, we were brokenhearted. We were meeting all these companies and all these people saying you're idealistic, but we didn't stop. On the other side, we weren't just meeting companies, we were meeting students. We were going out there and actually working with students. In our first year alone, we met 500 different students in 13 different institutions and ran programs for them. We got to know what the youth want, how they think, how they act, what engages them, what do they like, what do they not like. And from there, we just kept going. Even when we had no corporate partners, to when we had some of the biggest corporate partners in the country, we still kept going. And it took us on a parallel journey where we were meeting students in homeschools, tuition centers, children's homes, to eventually working with the Ministry of Education in secondary schools all around the country. And as we built ourselves in our own careers, in our journey with Ascendance, as we perfected our programs, as we helped more youth, our confidence grew. And who we are changed with the experience we got. Then, it's not that you won't have doubts, it's just that you won't have the same doubts. You no longer think, is this possible? You think, I'm moving a little slow, aren't I? and I think that what that taught me was that when you change with experience, you will experience the people around you change as well.
I think that's very interesting and fascinating. I would say it's very thought-provoking, because when you actually mentioned that whatever that changed was you and your team, and that's how the people around you, the perceptions and everything like that changed as well. So it's something that a lot of us would not have thought of, on how to create a success or to create an impact out there, is actually to change ourselves. So I would say that I'm really learning a lot from you today. So another aspect of this whole building your career, talking about startmyname.com, one of the things that it kind of confuses me is the part that you said you started this business to fund your education, which is you're going to the University of Pennsylvania. So with this whole idea and what you're taking action into, it's a very, very amazing business plan. You have your team, you have 400 over clients from 4 different continents. Everything is amazing. So what is the plan if you have already achieved the funds and everything is enough for your education? What happens to this business?
Oh, it's a brilliant question. You'd be surprised how little people ask me that. I'd love to answer this more. I think that all of us have something our heart wants to do. It is something that we are meant to do, in a sense, I feel. And for me, at this moment in time, it is Ascendance. It's Ascendance's vision. And my mentor says this, that when you have a goal, every single thing that you do becomes aligned to that goal. So whether it's going to the University of Pennsylvania or whether it's having breakfast, it's all aligned to your goal. You need that breakfast energy, you need that education equally so that you can achieve that goal and achieve that vision. And Start My Name plays a huge role in that. Because what startmyname.com does is, we don't just build websites. We build relationships, we build systems, and we help build businesses. We help build individuals. I think that a website or an online presence is the key to the future. I didn't know this when we started, but over the last 1 year, with the pandemic, with many people having to go online, with this avenue of connecting to people globally opening up, I've seen people like kindergarten teachers, people like waitresses or restaurant owners or stall owners, to even people like tech startups in different countries, all come on board to startmyname.com to grow their online presence, to grow their business. And through that, we create this community of people who would otherwise not have this opportunity. There is a huge market for websites. There's a huge market. There's a huge amount of people building websites. But there's a huge amount of people who cannot afford it, who don't even know what a website is. And that bigger portion of people who need the support are the people that we are willing to support. We're not looking for big companies who are out there who want 1 million websites. We're looking for individuals. If you are 13 years old, you want to start, a photography career. We don't want to charge you 5K so that you can have a professional website. You need something fast. You need something simple. So that's when we actually started this idea, so that every teenager who wanted a business could have an online presence. Eventually, it opened up to companies, where we had some companies, and I remember this very clearly. This particular lady called me up. She said something very fascinating. She said, I run a kindergarten, and with this kind of lockdown with the pandemic, one of the things that happened is I can't go and meet parents, which I normally do, to pass my brochures. I can't meet them. I can't get new students. My business is in a standstill. But at the same time, we both knew something. Kids will always be born and kids will always need to go to school. So it's not like there were no kids out there. It's just that mismatch in kind of like being able to meet people. So we did a very fast, simple website for her, where we got all the important information that she normally sends to parents, put it online, and now she has a link, so she just needs to WhatsApp it to people. She just needs to drop them a text. And that actually helped her business, helped her grow so much. So she's just one person, but through that initiative of taking that fast, simple website, she got a business afloat and managed to get new clients, new parents during a pandemic. That's just one story. Our clients are single mothers. Our clients are college students with ideas. Our clients are entrepreneurs who are supporting their families, who are doing something for the community. They are not the big profit-making businesses. They are everyday people. And if you look at Ascendance's vision, what is it about actually at the core? It's making life better for everyday people, giving opportunities to youngsters, right? But how can we hope that the community will empower the youth if the youth don't empower the community? So if a teenager myself, if I can go out there and help everyone out there, wherever I can, with their own businesses, as fair as I can, as affordable as I can, naturally, as their businesses grow, won't they want to do the same?
Yep, true. It's nice because I can see the connection between what you're saying, from how Ascendance vision and as well as what you're building with startmyname.com, creating actually with the foundation from there, and how a lot of teenagers are going to come up and say that I want to do this and I want to do that, and you have that whole support system. It's kind of interesting because as much as you had the support system for your journey as an entrepreneur, you are actually creating this whole support system for other entrepreneurs as well, and it's very, very admirable. Let's talk a little bit about how you actually got accepted to the UPenn. It's an Ivy League university. Well, why I find this actually very fascinating is because traditionally you go for high school, then once it's done and completed, you apply for a foundation or a diploma, a certificate program and so on before you actually go for a bachelor program. But you sort of skipped the in-between part and straight got into a bachelor program. How did that happen?
I think, honestly, it was due to the work that I've been doing with Ascendance. So when I had this vision that I wanted to study from the best, I wanted to learn from the best about business, about culture, about psychology, about all the things that we need to bring Ascendance worldwide, I actually wrote in about Ascendance's story to few universities. And one university that was especially keen was actually the University of Pennsylvania. And they had this particular program for their liberal and professional studies college, which was called a Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences, which basically was for non-traditional students. So UPenn itself has a history of being pioneers of medicine, of business, of many, many amazing fields and industries. And particularly this one program they had was for these non-traditional students who couldn't do your normal college lifestyle, who couldn't go for your diploma and then your degree and that whole process flow. They were for individuals out there who, when I actually inquired this, they were talking about athletes, they were talking about musicians, they were talking about professionals in companies who were maybe already doing really well with higher ranking positions. So it was not a course for the normal, in a sense. And I thought, wow, I need to apply for this.
well, I have to say, you're not normal. You are a lot more than that. Coming up with this book and so on. So yeah.
No, so I was just very fascinated about it, and I wrote to them about Ascendance, and they wrote back saying, wow, we're very fascinated about Ascendance too, and we'd love to see how we can bring Ascendance worldwide.
Nice.
And that's when I actually got enrolled into this particular course, and I was very fascinated by the people I met. Here I am, literally halfway across the world. I'm not joking, we're about 12-13 hours time difference. So we're literally half across the world. And I am having live classes, group projects, I'm sitting in lectures by some of the most phenomenal professors in the world. And the thing I liked about this particular program is it didn't just have lecturers who were from this college, but some of them were the undergraduate chair of the entire University of Pennsylvania, of that entire particular subject or field. So it was really learning from the best. At the same time, my classmates, the people I worked with, they were not just students or not just normal everyday people that you would think were in college, but some of them were actually people who were working as top HR executives in different parts of the world. Some of them, as I mentioned earlier, they're musicians, performers doing this in between their time. Some of them were people who had left school a long time ago and were coming back to advance themselves professionally. So there was this range of people I met. My classmates at one point of time were aged 15 all the way to 50 years old. And those were the people I was working with, and all of us had to work together in harmony, in a sense, on many interactive projects, on many kind of overlapping assignments that we'd have to collaborate for the best result. So yep, I learned so much from seeing how people think in different parts of the world, because we all don't know how limited we are until we actually go and meet someone who falls outside of our box. So here I was meeting people with different perceptions, and in turn, I hope that I help break their perceptions as well in certain areas.
So UPenn is an interesting journey for you, especially connecting the dots with Ascendance as well. So do they know that you are an entrepreneur?
Oh, they do. I never shut up about it. How could I? I think, yes, I think that many people look at me as this very poised, serious person. That's only when the camera is rolling. Unfortunately, you don't get to see this. If we have a behind the scenes video, you'll see me jumping up and down, literally. And I'm actually a very excited teenage girl. I am that walking stereotype of every teenager. Like on one side, yes, business and stuff like that. On the other side, there's a lot of crying and a lot of excitement and a lot of shouting and going, oh my God. So yeah. And with that excitement, I never shut up about my business. I never shut up about Start My Name or Ascendance or any of the things that we're doing, because I'm just so in love with my career that I want to share it with as many people out there. And a lot of the subjects I take in UPenn are very related to the things that is happening in Ascendance that I am working on right now, or with my own interests and how we are planning to revolutionize what we do here in Ascendance. So with that, when I share about this to people, a lot of them are actually quite receptive. And especially my lecturers, my teachers and all, one of the things is they are a place where ideas grow. And I think when they hear an idea, they want to grow it. They want to do what they can to support that idea. I've had amazing lecturers, even sometimes after class, I'll say, hang on the Zoom call, can I ask you a few additional questions? And we'd actually flesh out some of the things that we're working on in Ascendance. I would give them some questions like, I like this assignment, I want to apply it with some of the students we work with. What are your thoughts that how we can adapt it? So they'd actually give me ideas, they'd give me further reading. They actually really supported me in this whole journey of Ascendance and Start My Name. And it wasn't just like this in UPenn, it was like this when I was in high school. initially, of course, when you're in high school, your teachers all go, I don't want to encourage you to do anything. I don't want to discourage you from doing anything. But as you start sharing that excitement and sharing those results with your teachers, even in high school, my whole school started being super supportive and working with me to actually help me achieve my goals in Ascendance as much as possible. Guests would come for talks and they'd be like, Harsha, you can talk to this person for Ascendance's corporate partnership.
Wow.
They'd be clubs. They'd be like, oh, you can get an activity out of this. So actually some of the activities we run from Ascendance were actually because my school teachers were like, we need to help this girl. We need to get her business running. I even had some teachers who would share my talks in class, who would give me to organize programs, test programs in school. So whether it was UPenn, whether it was my school, I actually saw that once again, when you share your excitement, when you really are in love with your idea, whoever it is becomes receptive and people will help you grow your idea. Actually, my high school principal actually penned part of the foreword for this book. So that was how much I actually loved going to school and how much school influenced me in my journey of a teenage entrepreneur.
Just a little bit of question, just to get those people who are finding it hard. How do they cope with a little bit of like teachers not a bit discouraging and so on? How do they actually address that?
Again, I used to face that. I did not always have the nicest time, not because there was anything wrong with my teachers, but because there was something wrong with me. So, and one of the things is, when you do something different, my mentor would say this, don't expect a normal reaction when you're doing something extraordinary. Like, why would you expect people to say, wow, that's amazing? No, that's a normal reaction. The first thing that whenever I shared about in the initial stages what Ascendance does, what I'm doing outside of school, a lot of my teachers and friends, they just didn't know what to make about it. So remember that teacher who scolded me in front of the whole assembly hall? Okay. That was just for that was just for setting a scholarship goal. Can you imagine setting a business goal? So in the beginning, they were a bit kind of like, they weren't so happy with it. Eventually that unhappiness became silent, so it just became, I want to help you, but at the same time, I don't want to encourage you to get off track. But one thing that really helped is when I asked for their help. So you could imagine being a teenage entrepreneur, there are times which I couldn't go to class because I needed to go and run a program with the Ministry of Education. I would not go to my school, only to go to someone else's school. But at that time, there was a point of time which almost every week I was out running this program. And naturally, I am, with my goal setting methods, with what's happening, I do have good grades because I learned that skill of focusing your thoughts, manifesting your reality. So I did get my straight A stars. But you don't want to rock the boat, right? And logically, if you're not in school, how would you know what's going on? So actually, at that point of time, this is kind of like the tipping point which changed my relationship with my teachers. I sat down with my teachers almost at one after each class with each teacher separately, and I told them, this is what Ascendance does. You may have heard me share about this before. I'm going to need your help because I don't think I can manage this by myself. And I'm a bit scared that I might fall behind. And you know, exams are coming and all of this is happening. Do you mind helping me out? And my teachers, I think, are amazing people because straight away they realized this kid needs my help. And they went out of their way to make sure that I got the help I needed to maintain my straight A's, to maintain my grades. So from some of them becoming unsupportive, they swung the other way and became extra supportive. And eventually, once they supported me in my grades and they saw that I can manage running a business with getting straight A's, with doing well in school, I remember this one teacher would say when they would let me make calls and they'd let me do my emails in class. And another person would say, like someone who just entered the room randomly, or a new teacher in the school would say something like, how come this class you just let them do the stuff that they want? And my teacher says, well, they're scoring their exams anyway, no matter what I do, so I might as well let them do what they want to do. And I remember that every time I learned something in business, I'd come back and I'd tell my teachers, like, oh, you taught me about this economics concept, right? This economies of scale and things like that. I met this company that told me the same thing. And my teacher would be like, really? And then we talk about that. So my studies became kind of like part of what I was doing and vice versa.
So this is what you're talking about, that the change is actually with yourself, because it seems like the conversation actually started becoming more matured with your teachers as you explain your scenarios and so on, which is very, very interesting. And I believe a lot of teenagers out there, youngsters out there who's facing similar scenarios can also actually start applying that in their schools with the teachers, and really connecting actually everything together.
It's all about that communication in a sense,
which is not easy.
Yes.
Being a teenager, I don't think that's an easy one, but you're doing it very, very well. Okay, this whole book, the whole topic of you talking about every single thing from your journey in Ascendance, startmyname.com, the makings of a teenage entrepreneur, I really like something that actually you really pen this down very, very well in this book. So I'm just going to open up this part where you actually said it very nicely. I love the book, by the way. It's full of color and Harsha's in there. So I love this part where you actually said this. It's not just about making money. It's about building a legacy. Share with us about that.
Well, to really grasp what I'm saying, not only would I encourage you to read the book, but I'd encourage you to go and try it out and put it into practice. Because this is something that I learned in the journey of creating a startup. I mean, as a kid, we're all told the same things. It's not about making money, it's about the people, it's about the community. And we understand that in theory. We do. I think we all get it, right?
But many business owners out there are running a business because of profits.
Yeah. And you can't run a business and not think about profits. That's not a business. That's something else. So there is this balance that is to be struck. So what actually happened is, when I started running the business, in the beginning, it was a business to me. It was get clients, meet people, do the sites, send them off. But as I started getting to know the people that I was working with, I started understanding their stories, where they were coming from. I started seeing that that behind businesses, behind people, behind brands, are just everyday individuals like you and me. And a lot of these people were doing things because they were passionate about it. So like some of them, like there's this one lady I remember, she's a HR executive. I don't know why my life is full of HR executives. But she was a particular HR executive in this top company. And on the side, when she was not firefighting, she was actually selling jewelry. So she made handcrafted jewelry and she actually wanted to sell it. But she said, I don't have much to invest in this. It's just a hobby. But she was so happy when she got the website. Because she was like, this is something that I'm really passionate about. This is something that I love. And I saw another person who was doing keepsakes. So she would take personal belongings and turn them into treasured little keychains or little gifts that you could pass to your family members. And she said, it's always been a dream of mine to have a website of my own where I can share my thoughts, share my feelings. Thank you for making that happen. I saw photographer bloggers. I saw people who were running businesses in different countries who needed to reach out to new markets. I saw people who were organizing conferences with organizations that you would not believe, with governments from different countries. And all of these people behind them had stories. They started somewhere. They were once kids too. And through that growth in discovering what they love doing, of pursuing their passion, of some of them even going through various countries, various businesses, various colleges and studies, they discovered something that they were passionate about. And this website is a tool for them to bring what they're passionate about to the world. So when you run a business and you listen to these stories, it's impossible for you to be fully focused on the money. If your heart connects to others, or at least when my heart connected to others, I started thinking, what else can I do? What is the legacy that I want to leave behind? It's not about making money. It's about these people. It's about getting their stories out there. And you can't build a legacy without knowing what legacy you want to build. But at the same time, you can't build a legacy if your only goal is building a legacy.
That's kind of confusing, though.
Like you can't like not have a goal. But at the same time, your goal can't be, I want to be remembered.
Okay.
You've got to do something for the people. And as I started meeting these people one by one, seeing what's best for them, eventually I realized that through startmyname.com, we were not just the vehicle in which I was learning how to do better in Ascendance, how we could bring Ascendance worldwide. We were the vehicle for everyone to go worldwide. We were the vehicle that bridged that gap that people needed. So that legacy that I was leaving behind was those people. Was people who now had a new avenue to run their business, who could go to the next level because of us. That is our legacy. And how we got there, how we built this community, 500 over individuals and startups, 4 over different continents, it's the beginning of our legacy. Can you imagine if everywhere in the world we would have a platform where if you wanted to go digital, if you wanted to go online, you didn't even have to think about it. You just paid something with minimum cost, just a few dollars or for a few hundred ringgit, and you already had a platform online, you already had a presence, and you had people there to customize it to the site that you wanted. Anyone, whether you are a hawker stall owner or whether you're a businessman, could be able to share your message. We'd create a community all around the world where everyone began to learn about each other. And that I realized was our legacy. And that journey of learning that is the legacy and finding out how to grow that legacy superseded any thoughts of money that you can have. And as I grew the legacy, the money came naturally. So now I no longer worry about clients. My clients recommend clients, they find the people and things like that because they are part of this journey, they become part of what we do. So in a sense, it's not just my legacy, it's all of our legacies. It's what all of us are doing to make sure everyone grows together.
Okay.
And if you want to know more, there's an entire chapter about it in the book.
Yes, there is an entire chapter about it in the book. And I would say that it's not just about websites, or it's not just about UPenn, or it's just not about the book. All this collectively, you are leaving a legacy and you're just 18. So thank you so much. This has been The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. We'll be right back. So we're here with the author of The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. She said this is the dynamic box set. And Harsha, so tell us a little bit more about this.
So this dynamic box set is truly a special part of me and my whole journey with the Teenage Entrepreneur book, because this box set was actually made by student entrepreneurs themselves, by teenage entrepreneurs themselves. So this box set with all of the merchandise in it is actually done by Haha Merchandise. They are a merchandising company of a startup from Ascendance, run by a 16-year-old and her other fellow teenager team. So this whole initiative basically is supported by teenage entrepreneurs for teenage entrepreneurs.
Okay, nice. So let's get into it. So I'm just gonna open it up and show you guys what's in it. Even for me, I'm just gonna see what's in it. So first and foremost, we have a very nice, cute little card. It has a message in it that says like a special gift for you and things like that. It has my name on it.
Yeah, so how the card basically works is on our website we've got lots of different messages that you can choose from, whether it's happy birthday or welcome teenage entrepreneur.
Nice.
But this one is actually a special gift for you, and it's actually a gift for you, Rammya.
Wow, okay, I did not expect that. I just thought that's a message, but thank you so much. Okay, so I'm getting more excited now. So let's get into it more. So we have another card here that says The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur by Harsha. Okay, and it has a message. Okay, so it says, Dear Rammya, thank you so much for getting this book. I'm so excited for you to read and enjoy this book and kickstart your journey of changing the world. This book is filled with laughs, tears, lessons, and a little bit of magic, all the ingredients that makes a teenage entrepreneur. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and experiences reading this book. Tag me on Instagram and Facebook with your selfie with the book using #ActuallyHarsha. Thank you for being part of my journey. See you. So yours truly, Harsha. So it actually connects. It actually connects back to a lot of this Instagram and Facebook users that actually can share it out to people, right?
Yep, I just wanted to say something through this card to all the amazing people who got the box set. And also the idea of the box set is actually to connect all of these teenage entrepreneurs out there and to make a little community of it. So by tagging us, by sharing about it on Facebook, Instagram, it gives us a platform to learn about you and what you guys are doing and reach out to you as well.
Okay, so let's go for the next one. We actually have a t-shirt here. So I'm just going to open it up.
I think you'd enjoy the quote here the most.
Oh, okay, there's a quote there. Okay, just let's read it up here. It says, it's not just about making money, it's about building a legacy. Exactly the quote that I actually picked it up.
I was quite surprised when you asked. I was like, oh, Ramya's going to love this.
I wasn't expecting this though. So this is a pretty interesting t-shirt. It has Harsha on it. So it's a pretty interesting t-shirt that I believe a lot of people are going to be wearing it around. They're going to be so excited about this particular t-shirt. I'm just going to leave it over here. Okay, so what do we have next? Okay, so we have bookmarks.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So it's actually a bookmark set of a few of the quotes that we have from the Teenage Entrepreneur book, which some of our test audience were reading and really enjoyed and loved.
Okay, so I really love how it feels like having this bookmark on my hands. Okay, so it has quotes from Harsha. I believe it's all from the book. So it has different quotes.
Different quotes, different colors.
Wow, it's really nice. It's with the different colors, different pictures. Oops, I almost slipped it. Okay, so yeah, so this is a very interesting one. Okay, so you have something to keep track of the book then. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this one here. Okay, and not missing, we actually have the book. So, so we have the book. It's nicely wrapped and so what else, Harsha?
Other than the book itself, so I've got an unwrapped version here so we can look at all the nice colors and illustrations. So it was actually formatted by a teenage entrepreneur. It was illustrated by a different teenage entrepreneur. So again, all the love of us collective teenage entrepreneurs being poured into this. And one of the things that I love about this box set is you don't just get the physical printed book with all of its glory. You also get the audiobook version and the ebook version as part of the dynamic box set.
That's really great because we have a lot of people who wants to just hear it out and things like that on the go, especially.
So you can hear me narrate my experiences to you as well.
Okay, that's an amazing solution for this whole thing. Okay, we have one last thing that I'm actually eager to know what's this. So it's called a premium, the teenageentrepreneur.com premium. So it has a card in it actually. So and it has my name on it. So okay, thank you so much, Harsha, but please share with us, what is this? What's this card about?
So this is our the teenageentrepreneur.com premium card where you actually get your name engraved into the card with the card number. And what it actually is it is a card that gives you access to the teenageentrepreneur.com membership platform. So the Teenage Entrepreneur platform is a 1-year access pass to experiences of not just me, but amazing teenage entrepreneurs, daily vlogs, daily lessons. You get to find out a bit more about what I go through on a day-to-day basis. You get to share your own stories with other teenage entrepreneurs out there so that you can share about what struggles you are going through, ask questions that we'll be taking on a bi-weekly basis, and basically have a real community where teenage entrepreneurs can come together and share experiences with one another so that we can all collectively grow. We're going to have different themes every month where we can have with different competitions. We're bringing entrepreneurs to support these initiatives where we go out there and interview entrepreneurs in their own native homes of their businesses, of their own industries, so that each month you are jam-packed with events, places where you can kind of like participate in and compete in so that you can get some prizes as well. And at the same time, you will get lots of lessons from some of the most successful people out there that you can hear from.
Okay, so you're saying that it's not just a book, it's a whole journey and it's a whole platform that you're actually presenting out there to people, to entrepreneurs, to teenagers. So it's a lot of things happening by just getting this one box set, right?
Yep, this whole idea of the dynamic box set is to form that community. So it is very much a gift of entrepreneurship to whoever's receiving it. It's a gift of a journey that you are about to embark on. And we didn't just want to leave you with the book. We wanted to make sure that you have the whole platform. Like we said earlier, you have that support system that you need to actually begin on this journey and succeed in whatever it is you love doing. We are also, for those of you who get this dynamic box set, we are having a limited time talk on becoming a teenage entrepreneur, which I myself will be there.
Wow,
you can
okay.
ask questions, get to know me. I'll share a little bit about how you can actually use this book in your day-to-day life and the lessons from it that you can take home as well.
Okay, it's not easy to catch Harsha. So if Harsha is having a talk, so this is something that you should not miss. So this is really, really awesome that first and foremost, it's nice that I'm getting all of this. and for all of y'all out there, how can they get this dynamic box set?
So all you actually need to do is go to store.startmyname.com and place your order, and we will actually prepare all of this specially for you. As we say, you can see that a lot of this is very personalized. You'd be able to pick your own message, pick your t-shirt size, and also with your name, we'd be able to give you a little premium card with your name on it as well. So all of this and more is available on store.startmyname.com. So see you guys there, and congratulations on starting your journey as an entrepreneur.